Please welcome the community manager and patient liaison person from Strainprint, our new sponsor partner. And so interesting to say hello in Manitoba, Ashleigh Brown. Hello, Ashleigh, everybody. Ashleigh.
Hi, guys. How you doing this morning?
Oh, my gosh, Ashleigh, how are you?
Oh, not too bad. It's nice and early here on the prairie, so we're expecting a hot one.
Where do you live, in Winnipeg, or do you live outside?
I sure do. Sadly, I've lived here my whole life.
That's not. Listen, this is Howard speaking. Fred's going to say hi.
Hello, Ashleigh. Don't apologize for living in Winnipeg.
Ashleigh, I spent my entire youth going to. My grandparents lived on. One lived on Pritchard Avenue, and the other one lived on Grant Avenue in the North End, and spent a lot of time in Winnipeg.
And Howard has told me on more than one occasion that per capita, the most beautiful women in Canada reside in Winnipeg.
That's either a lovely compliment or I'm half awake.
Well, no, wait a second. Actually, that's when I used to see gender. Now I just see humans. That was when I once upon a time when I was a gender, I would see gender. I also grew up going to Clear Lake in Riding Mountain National Park. Is that what it is?
Yes, that's correct, and we do have some beautiful cottage country out here, so we're very lucky that way.
We are very lucky on the prairies. It's a different type of cottage country there than it is here. Like today, here in Ontario, it's those rocks. What are those rocks called? The
Canadian Shield,
the Canadian Shield,
Precambrian rock, different.
Whereas on the prairies there, it's a different type of lake. It's has a different vista. Anyway, Ashleigh, now this is what's called establishing rapport. We've done that. And I got to tell you, we're so excited to have Strainprint with us as part of the conversation about cannabis in Canada. Let's just begin with that. Like, for those there's a few people that are aware that Strainprint's with us on the show, but give us a nice overview of what you guys do, and then maybe how you help people.
Well, it's a really exciting opportunity for me to be a part of because I'm a patient myself. So Strainprint is a really easy-to-use cannabis tracking journal, and people have been using it to discover how their medication works. Our founder, Steph, I believe you had her on the show.
Yep.
She has an amazing story, and she started journaling her own experiences as a patient and realized that she needed something else, so she turned it into an app that we have now had, over 500,000 sessions on. So it's been really powerful and really informative for myself and for so many. So to be on board with them is a great opportunity.
Is it too simple to say that you have a symptom, you enter it into the Strainprint app, and then it will tell you the type of cannabis experience that would be best served, that you would be best served by?
Yeah, I don't think that's too simple at all. I think that's a really neat emerging feature. As we have more people using it, you discover more. So we like to say that you listen to the stories and you act on the data. And Strainprint's really the data side of being a cannabis user. So, now you can look and see who's using what for what symptom, as you said, and decide what makes the best, is the best option for you in terms of strains and licensed producers or, dispensaries or whatever, what have you. So
you're a patient. What is your ailment, if you can share that with us?
I can definitely share what ails me. So I started having seizures as an adult in 2009 after my daughter was born.
Wow.
And there really wasn't a lot of information out there for me at that time. I went through a process of having a lot of great doctors, and fast forward to 9 years later, we kind of hit a dead end, and I had a girlfriend who was a medical cannabis patient, and I kind of dismissed it a little bit, and then she tossed a syringe of CBD oil into my lap one day and said, please try this. And I did, and it was the first time in 7 years that I had been seizure-free for more than 24 hours. So between that and my symptoms of migraine, I've been really fortunate to benefit from medical cannabis.
And you were on traditional medication prior to that really didn't work?
I was. I got some symptom control, but again, I was having between 150 to 180 seizures a month.
Wow.
And now I'm having, maybe 12. So between finding, a really low dose of that pharmaceutical medication, almost getting off it completely, and then introducing medical cannabis, I've been able to have really my quality of life restored.
You hear so many of these stories lately about cannabis helping so many people. And you can't argue with what you've been through.
Yeah, it really is, that anecdotal information, and I'm really fortunate because I met Steph and came about this when I started my own patient group, and so every day I really get to still engage in those stories and hear them, and they never stop being amazing because each one is really unique in terms of how people got to where they are and what hope they're finding.
I noticed here that it says that you have a blended family, including 5 kids and 2 granddaughters. I mean, you're busy. You can't be.
What do you take for that?
I was going to say what's the what's the strain that helps you chill that out?
There's no strain for a blended family, unfortunately. But it does alleviate some of the stress and anxiety. Yeah. There's always top trending strains for those. So. But
the reason I bring up the blended family and the grandkids is you're of an age where you would have grown up like a lot of us, with the stigma around marijuana and, oh my goodness, and it's a drug and all these things. And then there was this shift to, I remember when I first heard somebody talking about hemp as a device, a material, and I thought, that's interesting. There's another, because I thought, most people, you just think about marijuana to get high. And then now, years later, as I always say, the revolution isn't in, getting more buds to get high. It's using cannabis products, CBD oils and tinctures and salves and those type of things that Strainprint can put you in touch with that can fight symptoms that you have that other traditional medicines haven't been able to use or to work.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really exciting thing, and I remember that too. I remember the first time I saw hemp in a product. Actually, it was a tanning lotion in the late '90s, and I remember thinking about the conspicuous leaf on that packaging and kind of what that meant in terms of marijuana or pot or weed or whatever. And to come this far in almost 20 years is pretty amazing, and to see people using their medication. So a lot of the problems around patients using this medicine is it's so new. Really, we don't know what works for what yet. And when we have people come into our group or communities on social media, they're really kind of lost. And what we found is if they're tracking, if they're able to say, I took X amount of Canatonic on this day for this symptom, they can look back on that record and see what's working and what's not for them as well. So it's a unique experience to each user that really helps to formulate how that medical cannabis is working for us.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned a phrase, I think you called it journaling or symptom journaling?
Right, so there's journaling and tracking. So
tracking, yes.
Yeah, so we find that when people are tracking, especially through an app like Strainprint, because it's so easy, they just tend to be more mindful of their own experience. We had a patient on the weekend actually explain that she's off of 3 pretty heavy-duty pharmaceutical medications, and part of it is that she attributes it to being able to track in Strainprint what that right dose was for her.
Yeah.
So we see so much of that, and in my own experience, there were a lot of strains. I mean, I tried 8 different CBD oils. Well, you'd think they were all the same. No, being able to track them has made a difference because there were some that really actually weren't working for me.
Speaking of which, you said a lot of great doctors. Do you ever get the opportunity to go back to these people, or have you to say, you prescribed this pharmaceutical that really didn't work, but I've been having great success with cannabis? And what is the reaction? Do they want to hear it? The establishment?
It's interesting that you say that. So this kind of speaks to stigma. So, it's not something you share with the other mothers at school when you're picking up your kids, because they're not going to invite you to make brownies for the bake sale.
Right. That's right. These brownies are great.
Yeah, well, maybe they would, actually. I guess time will tell. But I think for me, I didn't talk to my doctors about it very much, even once I started having success with it. So I am excited to go back to them, because I'm pretty far out of the cannabis closet now, and explain to them how this is working, because I think they did as much as they felt comfortable doing at the time. And, I'm hoping through more stories like mine and through the data and analytics we're seeing that, they're going to be more open-minded, because, yes, I'm sitting in front of them saying, after 7 years, now I don't have as many, and those pharmaceuticals really didn't do what this has done for me. So now when I see a new practitioner, I put right on that form that I use medical cannabis, and what I find overwhelmingly is that they're really interested and curious, and they'll find ways to ask me about it and say, so you use this for your seizures? And I'll explain to them, yes, and sometimes I'll even pull out my medication, because I take a lot of soft gels and capsules and oils. So it's really shifting the paradigm away from that kind of, bong, Cheech and Chong kind of...
No, for sure.
They have, yeah.
Well, that's why I mentioned a lot of people of our age, their experience with marijuana might have been 20 years ago in college and blah, blah, blah. They haven't figured out that it's all moved on. And as far as the medical community goes, even a couple of years ago when I talked to my doctor, who I'm friends with, I could have a conversation, and I said, what about a medical marijuana prescription? And at the time, this is just 2 years ago, he didn't want any part of it, mainly because he didn't really have much information, and as he said to me, his association in Ontario really hadn't had any policy surrounding it, but all of that's changing. And with the help of Strainprint, and not just because I'm plugging you guys because you're our sponsor, but also because it's so smart. What's your symptom? What are other people having success with? Because not everyone can share a conversation with Ashleigh Brown, who we're talking to today, but you can share Ashleigh's and thousands of others' experiences that may have something for you or your family or one of your aging parents. It really is a great service that will provide a community for others, and I think that's kind of what you guys are going for.
That's absolutely what we're going for. We're just wanting to help people, use their cannabis better and find what works for them. And there really is strength in numbers, and that's what Strainprint, has, is they back up everything that I see, in these communities every day. They back up the stories of people using these, and it really condenses and collaborates. So we're able to really, help people shape their medication experience. And for me, that's a full circle moment to be working again, after all these years, after my own illness and my own journey, to be able to help other people, and also, provide some proof through the data, through the numbers, and through that shared experience.
Ashleigh Brown, what a great conversation. You can hear more about Ashleigh's journey. Womenofcannabis.com is one of the sites you can check out. Of course, strainprint.ca. I hope this won't be the last time we have a chance to share some information. And thanks for talking to us this morning from Manitoba. Did you ever? I grew up in Moose Jaw. Did you ever go to Moose Jaw?
I've definitely been to Moose Jaw.
Did you go to the spa?
I wish. Maybe that's next on my list for Moose Jaw.
Moose Jaw's got a world famous spa because of the hot springs or something. Sulfur, I don't know.
Oh, really?
There's something in the water, I guess.
Everybody has lunch under the moose, I thought. And then you take a tour down Henry Street to see where the great Humble Howard lived.
That's right. Uh-huh. You take the stars.
You take
the stars of Moose Jaw tour.
Yeah.
It's me and the moose.
People are there going, okay, yeah, enough of the moose. Where's Howie's house?
Gonna have lunch there.
It's the band capital of North America, Hey, Ashleigh Brown, I hope this was a good experience for you. Nice speaking to you.
It was lovely to speak with you. And anytime you want to chat about cannabis or, Moose Jaw, please feel free to give me a call in Manitoba.
Ashleigh, what you can't see is I'm sitting here as a pain sponge because my back hurts, my neck hurts. While we were talking, I got a cramp in my right. I don't know what's going on with me, Ashleigh.
His brain wants to golf, but his body won't cooperate, Ashleigh.
Yeah, it's too much. The funny thing is, Freddie and I were talking, Ashleigh, before we let you go, the nice thing about cannabis, oils, tinctures, and whether it's got THC in it or not, the side effects are so benign. When I medicate myself at night, Ashleigh, my only side effect is binge watch Fargo and eat chocolate-covered almonds.
Yeah, I always feel like if the worst side effect is the munchies and enjoying Pink Floyd more, then that's pretty amazing.
That's right. Ashleigh, thanks for talking to us today.
Thanks so much, guys. You have a great day.
All the best to you. That's Ashleigh Brown from Strainprint. That was cool.